Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session. We already have a good number of folks on the call. We'll just give everyone just another moment to join in, and we will get started here in just a moment. Thank you for being with us today. Okay. Well, welcome to this session on the City of San Antonio COVID-19 Construction Impact Grants Program. This program is specifically for businesses who are located in an area that has been impacted by a city-funded construction project. So we will go through all of the eligibility requirements for this program, and then we'll have an opportunity for Q&A at the end, but at any point during the presentation, feel free to post your questions in the Q&A section. This session is offered in Spanish as well as English. And so if you would like to select Spanish as your preferred language, Monica can share how to do that. Monica?
Hola. Sección trilingüe, instrucciones de audio. Escuche en español. En los controles de la reunión o el seminario web, haga clic en interpretación. Haga clic en el idioma que desea escuchar, que va a ser español. Luego, para escuchar solo el idioma interpretado, haga clic en silenciar audio original. Esto es opcional.
Great. So I am very pleased to introduce Caitlin Cowart. She is the Economic Development Manager at the City of San Antonio's Economic Development Department. Caitlin is a wonderful advocate for small business and has worked on a number of the programs that the city has offered over the past couple years. So I want to welcome Caitlin and thank her for being with us today. Caitlin?
Thanks, Lillian. And good morning to all of you. Thank you for attending today. We have heard from many businesses, maybe some of you included, of the impact of city initiated construction projects in commercial corridors. We just recently actually wrapped up a grants program with Live Fund using American Rescue Plan Act dollars. We are excited that we were able to award 521 businesses with grants through that program, and 135 of those received an additional construction supplement because they were impacted by construction projects. Some of you may have applied for those and potentially received them. If you did, you can still apply for this program and may be eligible for this program. But last month, the City Council also approved $2.25 million to go to this new grant program. And the purpose is to be able to assist businesses like yours with economic recovery from the pandemic that has been prolonged because of construction projects. I want to thank Lillian and the entire Live Fund team. They've been great to work with over the past couple years, and we know that this is going to go very smoothly for all of you, and we are just very happy to be able to offer this. We're also working with some of our community partners, such as San Antonio for Growth on the East Side, also known as SAGE, Prosper West, and Centro. They are there to provide technical assistance, outreach for those that need assistance. We will go over that through this presentation and make sure that you have the contact information for those organizations. And thank you all again for being here. You're in good hands with Lillian, so I'm going to hand it back over to her.
Thank you so much, Caitlin. And as Caitlin mentioned, I am the Grants Programs and Operations Manager here at Live Fund. And with that, we'll just dive right in. So as Caitlin mentioned, the city has allocated $2.25 million for funding for this particular program for businesses impacted by those construction projects. The grant amounts will be between $10,000 and $35,000. And in a moment, we'll look at how that award amount will get determined. So the application is going to be open on Monday the 13th. So coming up here in a few days. It's not open yet, so but it will be there. The apply button will be on the website right at the top, so easy to access. It will open at 10 a.m. and then it will be open for a couple weeks through February 28th at 5 p.m. I really want to underscore that 5 p.m. I know in the past we've had applicants thinking or counting on 11:59 p.m. and saying, wait, I didn't realize it was 5. So please be sure to mark 5 p.m. on the 28th on your calendar to make sure that if you are eligible, that you're submitting your application by that time. Once the application period closes, we'll begin right away to review all of the submissions. That review process will go from the beginning of March until mid-May. So it's about a 2.5-month process. The award notifications will begin to go out in March, mid-March for the first group of folks who are reviewed and approved, and continue through the end of May. And then the funding will begin in late March and continue until early June. And the website for this program is COSA Construction Impact Grant. It's here at the bottom of the slide, and it'll be at the bottom of every slide. So you're welcome to review the website, and we'll look at that together as we go through the presentation. So funds must be used for business-related expenses. So that could be payroll, contract labor, working capital, business rent or mortgage payments, utilities, equipment, supplies, really most anything, business related. For the rent and the utilities, those must be used on a business commercial location, not a residential rent or utility expense. Applicants can only receive one grant. So if you have multiple businesses, you can only submit an application for one of those businesses. You'll need to select one to apply for. And likewise, if you have one business, but with multiple locations, you'll need to submit for, just one of those locations. Nonprofits are not eligible for consideration for this program. The eligibility requirements are that you must be a retail or service business with a storefront location that requires foot traffic, or you have a business where customers physically have to come to your location. Your gross sales in 2021 need to be at least $10,000, and that's going to be based on the tax return that you submit. Your 2021 net profit or loss has to be at least $10,000 more than your 2022 net profit or loss. So I want to be very clear about that. We're looking at two different numbers for these requirements. So again, a minimum gross sales in 21 of 10,000 or more, and then a decrease of at least 10,000 in net profit or loss starting in 2021 and comparing to 2022. You have to have been operating before January 1, 2021. And of course, still be currently operating and open and in good standing with the comptroller's office, not have filed for bankruptcy, all of that. A few more requirements. So you have to meet the SBA size standard for a small business. And we have a link posted to those size standards on the website. So if you want to check your business, you can use that document that's on the website to verify your business. Those SBA size standards are based on your NAICS code. So the document, which we'll look at together later, will say, if your NAICS code is 112356, then your revenue has to be, under a certain amount, or you have to have fewer than a certain number of employees. You must be the majority owner of the business to apply. And then eligible industries. So most industries who are retail or service are eligible for this program. The only ones that would be excluded are gambling, nonprofits, sexually oriented businesses, payday, and auto loan providers, and liquor stores. So the required document list is very short. It's just 6 items. We'll need your current driver's license or government issued photo ID. If you, don't have the license, we can take a passport, we can take the matricula, we can take any form of valid current government ID. I highly recommend that you all pull out your driver's license today and check if it is, or your ID, and check that it is current. If it has expired or is going to be expiring in the next, few weeks, go now and initiate that process to get your license renewed. We are going to need that current ID. Secondly, proof of your business registration. So your formation documents that might be with Bexar County or the Texas Secretary of State. So that's your certificate of incorporation, your certificate of formation, or your assumed name certificate. That does not include your EIN letter or, sales and use tax permit. So it needs to be the assumed name certificate, the certificate of formation or incorporation. Next, we'll need your third quarter of 2022 payroll information. So that could be your 941 or a payroll report that you generate through QuickBooks or whatever accounting software that you use to verify the number of employees that you had. The most recent business utility bill, so water, gas, or electric. We're not going to look at, a phone bill or that type of thing. If you don't have a utility bill, maybe all of your utilities are included in your business lease. We're happy to look at a lease or your most recent, monthly rental invoice. Those are perfectly fine. Next, we need the 2021 filed business tax return. So this can't be a return that you've prepared but haven't submitted yet. It needs to be submitted and filed. And then we'll also want your 2022 return, or we know that, the filing deadline hasn't passed yet. So for 2022, we can accept a profit and loss statement or, other financial statements. Then next, this program will have a scoring system to determine which scores will receive priority in the review process. So the highest scoring applications will be reviewed and considered for funding and approval first. It will be based on just 4 categories. I see here, it says 5, my apologies, that's a typo and we'll get that corrected. The maximum score is 120 and the scoring categories are the reduction in net revenue from 2021 to 2022. So the higher your losses during that period, or the higher the reduction in net revenue, the higher your score will be. The percent of the SBA size standard that your business falls in. So the smaller your business, according to those size standards, the greater the points you'll receive. And then your equity ACLS score. So where your business is located within the city, certain historically underserved areas will receive higher points in this category. And then the duration of the construction project that's been impacting your business. So the longer that project has been going on, the more points you would receive in that category. And we'll see a more detailed breakdown of these scores here on this next slide. So you'll be able to see exactly how many points you would be awarded per category. And this information is also, again, on the website, which is COSA-constructionimpactgrant.com. I'll leave this slide here for a moment for everyone to view. Okay. Now, the application process, again, the application will be online at COSA-constructionimpactgrant.com. There will be an apply now button right at the top of the page. The application for most folks does take 30 minutes to an hour to complete. You will be able to start the application and then save your work and go back in later on during the application period to complete it if you aren't able to complete it in one sitting. But we definitely encourage all interested applicants to gather all of the required documents. It's just that short list of 6 items before you begin the application, and that will certainly make the application process smoother for you. All of the required information and documentation does have to be uploaded and completed in order for you to submit. You will not be able to submit the application with incomplete information. So for any questions before we review the site, of course, feel free to post them here in the Q&A section. You're also welcome at any point during the application period or the entire duration of the program to call Lift Fund to our dedicated grants line at 800-923-9551 or to email us at sbgrants@liftfund.com. And of course, again, the website is cosaconstructionimpactgrant.com. For application assistance, as Caitlin mentioned, we do have a number of partners that are eligible to assist you during the application period to complete the application. And we'll have all of their information on the website for you to view in a moment. Additional resources. So Lift Fund, of course, has other programs besides this grant. So we have low interest loans, which you're welcome to view there on the site listed. We have our business support team. So we have Launch SA and the Women's Business Center in San Antonio with frequent courses and workshops and classes and one-on-one advising, almost nearly all of which are free. And you can find our calendar of events and upcoming workshops at liftfund.com/events. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the website now. And on the site, you'll be able to find all of the eligibility criteria we just covered, the list of required documents, the scoring system, the program timeline, and frequently asked questions. So we'll jump here to the site. And I won't read it word for word for you, but we'll go through where each of those pieces of information is found. So here's just a summary of the program and the goals of the program. Here you'll have the application window. So again, that's Monday, February 13th, starting at 10 a.m. and going until Tuesday, February 28th at 5 p.m. Again, the grant amounts are between $10,000 and $35,000, and the grant amount will be determined by the amount of the reduction in net profit and loss between 2021 and 2022, up to a maximum of $35,000. If you received that construction supplement through the previous program, small business grant for small businesses that the city offered last year, if you're fortunate to be one of those 135 folks that Caitlin mentioned, you are still eligible for this program. However, your grant amount, if you received the supplement last time for construction, your grant amount would be decreased by $10,000 for this program. Again, just a summary of the items or the expense categories that the funds can be used for. That you'll have the eligibility list here. Here's that link to the SBA size standards that I mentioned, and you can type in your NAICS code and it will tell you exactly what your, well, that's a bad example since liquor stores are ineligible, but let's do, here we go, search, and you can put in your, the criteria, the information about your business, and it will tell you what your, if you meet the size standard. So I'm just putting in some example information here, and it is telling you that, yes, you would meet the size standard. Let's go back to the site here. And we have here, of course, also if a tool to look up if your business is in one of the eligible construction zones. So you'll be able to click on this link and enter your address and then hit submit, and it will tell you, yes or no, you are or are not in the construction zone. I definitely recommend to all interested applicants to complete this or to check your business address before beginning the application. That way you know if you will meet that eligibility criteria. And then again, we have also the list of prohibited activities here. As I mentioned, nearly any retail or service business that requires foot traffic is eligible. The only prohibited categories are those, gambling, sexually oriented businesses, liquor stores, that type of thing. And that specific list of NAICS or business activity codes is listed here for your reference. Then we have the list of those 6 required documents that we discussed. We have that breakdown of the scoring factors and how many points can be awarded in each category. We've got the program timeline, so the application period, the review phase, the award notification phase, and the grant disbursement phase. Any applicants who are selected to receive a grant will be asked to complete a follow-up survey in January 2024 and January 2025. We have here some additional resources. So utility assistance, a relief through CPS and SAWS. We have also contact resource information with the city, an email and a phone number that you can reach out to. And then we have a list of other grants offered by other entities that you may qualify for, and we certainly hope you'll take advantage of if eligible. We do have 2 additional info sessions coming up on February 16th from 4 to 5 p.m. and February 21st from noon to 1, and you can register for those here. We will post the slides and the recording of this session here within the next day or 2 after this session, so you'll be able to look back if you would like. As I mentioned, we do have a number of partners that can help you with in-person assistance, and you can visit that page here with a map of their locations and all of their contact information so that you're able to make an appointment. The appointments for in-person assistance are by appointment only, so please do be sure to call them or reach out to them to schedule that appointment before showing up at the office. That's to ensure that they do have someone available at that time to assist you. And then we have some frequently asked questions. So are sole proprietors eligible? Yes, as long as you have an assumed name certificate filed and you have a storefront and can demonstrate that customers, you do have foot traffic by customers to your location. If you're located outside the city but serve customers within the city, unfortunately, you would not be eligible. You also, of course, most likely would not be in one of the qualified eligible construction zones for this program. If you have 2 businesses, again, you'll need to pick just one to submit an application for. We will only consider 1 application per business owner. You're certainly welcome to have a CPA or someone else help you with the application, a bookkeeper, but we definitely need to make sure that your contact information is the one listed in the application, so that if we have follow-up questions during the review phase, we're able to reach you versus a third party. We also definitely want to underscore that you should not, this application is free and you should not pay anyone to complete the application for you. If anyone reaches out to you and offers to guarantee approval for a fee, that is not someone that is vetted by Lift Fund or approved, and that is not someone that you should work with. We do have our 7 community partners who are trained with the process and the application, so we highly recommend working with one of them if you are going to seek assistance. As a sole proprietor, you may not have a DBA already, as long as you can demonstrate that your business was operating before January 1, 2021, you can go out and file that Schedule C now, that DBA now, with the county clerk's office, but we will need to have that formation document in order for you to be eligible. This is a grant, so if you're approved, you do not need to pay it back. It is not a loan. As far as utility bills, again, if you don't have a utility bill, but you receive, your lease or a monthly rental invoice, we can definitely take that in place of the utility bill. And if your, tax return or formation documents have a different address than where you're currently located, because you may have moved over the past few years, not a problem at all. We will, that's why we're going to look at the most recent utility bill to verify your current address. And then if you've received previous funding in the past, whether that's a PPP or EIDL or a previous grant from the city or any other entity, that does not disqualify you for this program. You are definitely still eligible for this program. And then again, we have our contact information here for questions. So sbgrants@liftfund.com, or you can reach us at 800-923-9551. And with that, I will take a pause. I see that there are a lot of questions that have come in to the chat. And so we'll go through some of those. Monica, with our grants team, has been answering a number of them for you by message, but we'll also answer some of those out loud. Before I do that, I just want to point out that the website is available in Spanish, simply by clicking the Espanol button up here at the top. You can also have an easy link to that list of the community partners that are available to assist you by clicking the partners button here. So let me take a look at some of these questions. Yes, so if you've moved during the pandemic or in the past few years, you're certainly still eligible as long as you meet those criteria of still being in a construction zone and being within the city. So yes, as long as if you've moved but are still within a construction zone and your business has been operating before January 1, 2021, you would be eligible. Let's see. Yes, so this grant application has not opened yet. It will open on Monday, February 13th. And if you meet all of the eligibility requirements, you're certainly welcome to apply. For 2022 financials, it does not have to be an audited financial statement, just as long as it's a formal profit and loss or other financial statement, that will be fine. It does not need to be audited. Yes, so if your lease at your business location is month to month, that's fine. As long as you can provide us the most recent monthly rental invoice that has the business address on there and, has your business name or your name on there so that we know, this is you and you're at that location, that's perfectly fine. Yes, so questions again on the financial requirements. So the 2021 net profit and loss need to be at least $10,000 less than the 2021 net profit and loss. And I'll display that list here. Yes, so if selected for this program, you will be issued a 1099 in 2024, and those funds will be taxable, and we definitely encourage you to check with your accountant or bookkeeper or CPA to determine, how those would be reported on your tax filings. Yes, the number to call for help with the application, I'll place that in the chat, but it can also be found here on our website at the bottom. So that's 800-923-9551, and I'll put that here in the chat for everybody. Okay. Okay. So for the period that we're looking at to determine the losses based on the net profit or loss, we're comparing 2021 to 2022. So whatever may have happened in 2020 will not be considered or factored into this grant program. If you have multiple locations of your business, you would need to select just one of them to submit the application for. So, perhaps the one that's had the greatest negative impact. So just one application per business and per business owner. The previous program that was available last year that was looking at your 2020 sales compared to 2021, it looked at 2019, 2020, and 2021. That program did close last year, so it is no longer open. Yes, so for 2021, we do require they filed a tax return. So that is a requirement. For 2022, we can be more flexible and accept that financial statements. Yes, this is a great question. So some home-based businesses, if you are retail or service oriented, may be eligible if you are an industry that requires customers to come to you. So for example, a hair stylist or a masseuse with an in-home studio. So depending on the type of business you have, if your business requires foot traffic and by customers to generate revenue, then you could be considered. We have a few folks just expressing appreciation for the grant opportunity and this information. So you're very welcome. The city is so happy to support the small businesses. To determine your NAICS code, you can look at your tax return. So that will be, typically in the top right corner of your return. That'll be your Schedule C. If you're a sole proprietor, your 1120 or 1120S or 1065. For some of the corporate or LLC returns that sometimes can be further down on the Schedule K. But that number, that NAICS code, you can determine based on your tax return. Yes, so we'll just re-review we have a lot of questions again on the clarifying the eligibility criteria. So we'll just go through those one more time. So you have to have a minimum of 10,000 in gross sales in 2021. You must be a retail or service business with a storefront location or a business that requires customer foot traffic for operations. You have to meet the SBA size standards, and that list of the size standards can be found here on the website. You have to have net profit or loss in 2021 that is at least $10,000 more than net profit or loss in 2022. You have to have been operating since before January 1, 2021. You have to currently be in operation and not have filed for bankruptcy at the moment or be in active bankruptcy. You have to be within one of those eligible construction zones that are city-initiated construction projects. And you can check whether your business address falls within one of those zones by clicking on the lookup tool here. You can't be in one of the prohibited industries, which are gambling, sexually oriented businesses, liquor stores, or payday or auto loan providers, and no nonprofits. And then lastly, you must be the majority owner of the business. If you're split 50-50 with a partner, or maybe 33%, that's fine. As long as you're equal or majority share of the business. Yes, the 2022 P&L should be at net profit or loss should be at least 10,000 less than 2021 net profit or loss. We're delighted that you all have so many questions and are so engaged this morning. So please keep those questions coming. And I'll just underscore again that the application opens at 10 a.m. next Monday and will close right at 5 p.m. on February 28th. So I definitely mark your calendars for that time frame. And the application, the apply button will be right here on the website under this first paragraph. So you'll see a big, bright apply now button that will take you to the application portal. We'll also, don't see any additional questions, so we'll just review that list of the required documents one more time. So your current ID that is valid, not expired, your proof of your business registration with the county clerk's office or the Secretary of State, the proof of employee, number of employees, so from third quarter last year, 2022, so that's a Form 941 or a payroll report, a most recent business utility bill or lease or monthly rental invoice, your 2021 filed business return, and that's the tax return types that we will consider are a Schedule C, an 1120, an 1120S, or a 1065. So we're not considering other forms like a Schedule E or self-employment form, that type of thing. These are the 4 return types that would be considered. And then lastly, your 2022 business tax return or a 2022 financial statement if you haven't filed yet. If you have 1099 contractors, that doesn't, disqualify you or qualify you. You are certainly eligible to apply. And the number of contractors or employees, part-time, full-time, whatever, is not an eligibility determinant in this program. Whether or not your number of employees has increased or decreased during the past 2 years is not a factor in this program. We're only wanting to know, the current number of employees, or at least the number that you had as of third quarter last year. So if your business changed ownership, and I believe you mean, maybe you changed from a sole proprietorship to an LLC, so a different formation structure. That's perfectly fine. We would just ask that you provide both the original formation document, that DBA, and then your LLC or certificate of incorporation, so that we can see the current structure, but not a problem there. If we've misunderstood the question, please do feel free to pipe back up. The date on the lease agreement is not a factor as long as it's, still, ongoing, that the lease hasn't, expired. But when it opened or was initiated doesn't matter. And I'll just, as we have a lull here in questions, I'll just go through that timeline one more time as well. So again, after the application period closes on February 28th, we'll begin that review phase, which is about 2.5 months long. Within that time period, the highest scoring applications will be reviewed and considered and approved or denied first, and we'll work our way down through the lower scoring applications until all funds have been exhausted. And then following that, the award notifications will go out beginning in mid-March. And again, if your application receives a higher score based on those 4 factors, you'll be considered and notified earlier in the process. If you have a lower score, that doesn't mean that you won't get considered. It just means that your application will be reviewed later on in the process. So if you don't hear from us right away on March 13th, please don't, call us, panicked, we'll be working on all applications throughout that review process. And then lastly, the funding. If you are selected, you'll receive that deposit by ACH into your account between March 20th and June 2nd. I'll take a moment also just to really thank the city again. We know that businesses that have been in these ongoing construction projects have really felt that impact and have shared that feedback with the city, and they have been very receptive and heard your concerns and have taken action by way of offering and making available these funds. So we really appreciate the city for understanding the needs of small business owners. A question here on the scoring. So I'll pull that section up again. So the scoring is based on 4 factors. The first factor is the reduction in net revenue between 2021 and 2022. So the higher the decrease in net profit or loss that you had during that period, the greater the points you receive. The percent of the size standard, so the smaller your business is, the smaller the percent of the size standard for your industry that your business is, the greater the points you'll receive. The equity score, so this is again a geographical factor, so where your business is located within the city. If you are in an area, a neighborhood with a high equity score, then you'll receive greater points. And then lastly, the duration of the project, the construction project that is impacting your business. So the longer that construction has been going on, the greater the points you'll receive. And for equity scores, you're welcome to look that up here. This map is publicly available through the city's website. What you'll do is go over to this combined score tab, and then you can type in your address here. For example, I will put in Lift Fund's office address, and then it will show you through a dot, which it's a color coded map. So I can see that I'm in this purple area, and then we can go over here to the key. We can see that this purple is a score of an 8. Okay, go back to the site. So we've had a lot of questions on, this is what my business does. Is my business eligible? So as long as your business requires is retailer service and requires customer foot traffic for sales, then you would be eligible. And certainly as long as you're not one of the prohibited industries, so gambling, liquor stores, sexually oriented businesses, or payday or auto loan. Okay, we have about 10 more minutes, so we will stick around for questions, but I want to thank everyone for participating today and for your interest in this wonderful program. And we wish you luck next week as the application opens, and certainly encourage you to reach out to Lift Fund or any of the partners if you have questions on the application or the program. And thank you, Caitlin, for being here today, and again to the city.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, it looks like we don't have any other questions, but again, if you do think of questions after this session, the recording of this session and the slides will be available within the next day or two on the website, and you can always reach out to Lift Fund at sbgrants@liftfund.com or 800-923-9551. Thank you so much, and have a great day.